Thrift store treasures. 25 plus DIY planter ideas for your home and garden. Hello there, friends. Welcome back to Meaningful Living. If you're someone who finds joy in nurturing plants, loves a good weekend stroll through the thrift store, or simply delights in bringing new life to old things, you're in the right place. Today, we're not just potting plants, we're planting stories. We're going to explore how everyday thrift store finds can become beautiful, unique planters for your indoor greenery. Because if there's one thing we gardeners know, it's that growth doesn't require perfection. It just needs care, creativity, and a little heart. So pull up a chair, grab a cozy cup of something warm, and let's have a bit of fun together. And if you enjoy this kind of gentle green inspiration, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our Meaningful Living family. We'd love to grow with you. Tips 1. Teacups and saucers, vintage finds that feel like home. Let's begin with something simple and sentimental. Teacups and saucers. You know the ones, those mismatched little gems hiding at the back of every thrift shelf. To a true plant lover, they're not just dishes, they're potential homes for life. These are perfect for small succulents, tiny herbs like rosemary or thyme, or even a baby jade plant. Just add a scoop of potting mix, gently tuck in your plant, and you've got a charming, low-maintenance display for your windowsill. No need to worry if they're chipped or faded. That's part of their story. Gardening isn't about flawless beauty, it's about character, love, and giving things a second chance. And that's exactly what a teacup planter does, quietly and beautifully. Tips 2. Antique teapots, giving grace a new purpose. Now, let's take a step deeper into the world of timeless charm with antique teapots. You know the kind, maybe with a missing lid or a tiny chip on the spout. But if you're anything like me, you see past the flaw and straight into the potential. These little porcelain treasures make the perfect cozy home for plants like African violets, compact begonias, or even fluffy ferns. The rounded body holds just the right amount of soil, and the delicate handle gives it that storybook character we gardeners love. Just be sure to add a bit of gravel at the bottom for drainage, and if your teapot's lid is still around, lean it nearby for extra flair. Set the whole thing atop an old book or a lace doily, and suddenly you've got a mini indoor garden that whispers elegance with every leaf. Tips 3. Lantern planters, a glow of green in every corner. If you're someone who loves a cozy atmosphere, warm lighting, soft shadows, and a gentle sense of calm, then you'll absolutely fall in love with this next idea. Let's talk about turning old candle lanterns into planters. All you have to do is remove the candle insert, give the inside a gentle clean, and slide in a small potted plant, something like a trailing ivy, a feathery fern, or even a petite pothose. The open metalwork allows light to dance around the greenery, casting the loveliest patterns on your shelf or side table. It's the perfect piece for a reading nook, a hallway corner, or anywhere that needs a little life and a little glow. Gardeners at heart know it's not just about growing, it's about creating beauty in the quietest places. Tips 4. Cake stands with a twist, giving plants the spotlight. Now here's a sweet idea, quite literally. Vintage cake stands aren't just for desserts anymore. For those of us who love giving our plants a bit of flair, these delicate pedestals are a dream come true. Whether you find a single stand or a mismatched stack, they make the perfect stage for your trailing beauties. Think string of pearls, baby's tears, or English ivy. The height gives your plants room to shine, especially when placed near a sunny window or as a centerpiece on the dining table. Just pop a small pot on top, and if the stand has tiers, you can even layer a variety of plants to create a cascading mini garden. It's an easy way to add elegance without any fuss, and as any gardener will tell you, sometimes the simplest touches make the biggest impact. Tips 5. Toy trucks and wagons, a playful touch of green. Let's roll into something a little more playful. If you've ever stumbled across an old toy truck or a miniature red wagon at a thrift store or yard sale, don't pass it by. These childhood relics can be turned into delightful planters that spark smiles and memories alike. Just line the inside with a bit of moss or a plastic barrier, add some potting mix, and tuck in a few hardy succulents like hens and chicks or string of buttons. These plants don't need much water, which makes them ideal for shallow or oddly shaped containers. This idea works beautifully in a child's room, a sunlit hallway, or even as a fun surprise on a windowsill. For gardeners who love storytelling through their plants, this one's a charming way to mix nostalgia with nature, and it's sure to get people talking. Tip 6. Boots with roots, garden charm from head to toe. Now here's a fun one that always gets a grin. Old rubber boots. Maybe they've seen one too many rainy days or have a tear in the sole. Don't toss them out just yet. For gardeners who love character and a bit of outdoor whimsy, these boots were made for planting. Simply drill a small drainage hole in the bottom if needed, fill halfway with gravel or pebbles, then top with potting soil and your favorite hardy plants like cheerful pansies, compact petunias, or even herbs like mint or parsley. Line them up on the porch, place one beside your front door, or tuck a few in the garden bed for a quirky surprise. It's that perfect blend of rustic and playful, and it tells the world that you see beauty in the well-worn and well-loved. Tip 7. Upside-down lampshades, hanging beauty with a twist. Here's a little garden magic hiding in plain sight. Old lampshades, yes, those dusty ones with pretty patterns or vintage fabric that nobody quite knows what to do with. For those of us who love turning the unexpected into something delightful, this one's a gem. Flip the lampshade upside down, line the inside with a cocoa liner, burlap, or even some breathable fabric, and you've just created a one-of-a-kind hanging planter. Add trailing plants like string of hearts, wandering Jew, or even spider plants for a waterfall of greenery. Hang it from a porch beam, a shepherd's hook, or a sunny indoor corner. The shape, the texture, the way the light hits the fabric, it all creates a look that's whimsical yet wonderfully warm. It's perfect for the kind of gardener who sees beauty not just in plants but in the way they're displayed. Tips 8. Fish bowls and vases, a clear view of nature's wonder. Let's slow things down for a moment and look beneath the surface, literally. If you've got an old fish bowl or a glass vase tucked away, it's time to bring it into the garden spotlight. Glass containers are ideal for hydroponic plants, moss gardens, or even air plants. Just add a bit of water, some smooth stones or marbles for stability, and place in cuttings of pothos, lucky bamboo, or even a bit of mint. The magic? You can actually watch the roots grow, curling and reaching day by day. For gardening lovers who enjoy the quiet moments, the gentle routines, the slow unfolding of life, this is a front row seat to the beauty of nature. Place it near a window, and let it be your daily reminder that growth doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. Tips 9. Wicker baskets, rustic charm with a gentle touch. Now let's talk texture, because for gardeners it's not just about the plant, but the feeling it brings to a space. Wicker baskets are a classic for a reason. That natural weave, that soft, homey look, it's like a warm hug for your greenery. Choose a basket that speaks to you, whether it's perfectly intact or a little weathered. Line the inside with a plastic sheet or coconut liner to hold in moisture. Then add your potting mix and something lush like a trailing ivy, a fluffy Boston fern, or even a peace lily. Set it on a wooden bench, a kitchen shelf, or right by your favorite armchair. Faded tones and simple shapes work best for that cozy cottage charm. And for those of us who love a garden that feels lived in, layered, and full of heart, this one never misses. Tips 10. Wooden crates and drawers, stackable style with soul. If you're someone who loves structure but still craves a touch of charm, then wooden crates and old drawers are going to be your new best friends. There's just something about their weathered wood and sturdy frame that makes any plant feel like it belongs. You can stack them at different angles for a rustic tiered garden, mount them on the wall for a vertical succulent display, or simply line them along a windowsill to create a cozy indoor greenhouse. Add small pots of herbs like basil, thyme, and oregano, or go bold with trailing succulents and flowering plants. The best part? No two crate gardens ever look the same. Whether you paint them, leave them raw, or mix and match sizes, you're building something personal, and that's what makes gardening so rewarding. It grows with you every step of the way. Tips 11. Metal toolboxes, industrial meets greenery. Let's add a little edge to our indoor garden lineup, quite literally. If you've got an old metal toolbox lying around or you spot one at a yard sale, don't overlook it. These sturdy, no-nonsense containers are just begging for a second life as planters. Whether you leave the weathered patina for that rustic charm or give it a fresh coat of pastel or matte black paint, toolboxes make fantastic trough-style homes for plants. Fill them with well-draining soil and plant a mix of trailing varieties like golden pothos, string of bananas, or sweet potato vine. The contrast between the hard industrial lines and soft, flowing greenery is what makes this combo so striking. For gardeners who love upcycling with a bold twist, this is where tough meets tender, and it works beautifully. Tips 12. Old colanders, strainers that let beauty flow. Here's a repurposing win that's both practical and pretty: old metal colanders. For anyone who loves plants and a touch of kitchen nostalgia, this one's a treat. And the best part? The drainage is already built in. All you need to do is line the inside with coconut husk, moss, or even a bit of burlap to keep the soil in place. Then fill it with rich potting mix and add your favorite trailing blooms like lobelia, sweet alyssum, or even nasturtiums if you want a pop of edible color. Hang it from a hook, set it on a garden table, or place it near a sunny window. The vines will spill out gently over the sides, softening the metal and adding that lived-in, loved look every gardener adores. It's functional, charming, and also satisfying. Tips 12:1. Baking tins and muffin trays, from oven to Oasis. Now here's a fun twist straight from the kitchen. Old baking tins and muffin trays. Maybe they've lost their non-stick magic or picked up a bit of rust over the years. But for a gardener with vision, that just means character. These shallow trays are perfect for starting herbs like basil, parsley, or chives, or for creating a charming succulent arrangement on your windowsill. Just be sure to add a layer of gravel at the bottom for drainage, especially if the tray doesn't already have holes. You can paint them in soft pastels for a cottage-style look or leave them raw for a more vintage industrial vibe. Whether you place them in the kitchen or tuck them into a sunny corner, they're a quiet reminder that even the most humble tools can still grow something beautiful. Tips 14. Vintage radios and blenders, retro roots with a botanical beat. Now let's take a step into the unexpected. Those old kitchen and living room relics that once filled our homes with sound and smoothies. Believe it or not, vintage radios and blender jugs can become some of the most eye-catching planters in your home. For the radio, carefully remove the internal components, line the inside with plastic or a waterproof container, and pop in a cactus or a small snake plant. As for the blender jug, just add some gravel for drainage and plant a jade or aloe. Something sturdy that won't mind the tight quarters. These pieces are perfect for gardeners who appreciate a mix of old memories and fresh greenery. It's a little bit quirky, a little bit nostalgic, and a whole lot of fun. And when guests notice it, trust me, your plant becomes the star of the conversation. Tips 15. Serving trays and platters, centerpieces that breathe life. If you're someone who loves to blend art with nature and set a beautiful table while you're at it, this next idea is a real gem. Let's talk about serving trays and platters. Not just for food anymore. These flat, sturdy surfaces are perfect for crafting your own little garden vignette. Gather a few small potted plants like mini succulents, baby ferns, or even ceramic animal figurines holding air plants. Group them thoughtfully on a vintage tray or a decorative platter, and suddenly you've got a living centerpiece for your coffee table, dining table, or even a quiet corner of your kitchen. It's quick to assemble, easy to move around, and endlessly customizable. For plant lovers who enjoy seasonal decorating or switching things up without digging in the dirt, this is a lovely way to showcase your greenery in a whole new light. Tip 16. Old cookware, from stovetop to windowsill garden. Now here's a tip that's close to home literally. If you've got old pots, pans, or even cast iron skillets collecting dust in the back of a cupboard, it's time to bring them back to life. But this time with a little greenery. These kitchen staples make wonderfully sturdy planters, especially for herbs like thyme, basil, or oregano. Just drill a drainage hole if there isn't one already, or line the bottom with a handful of pebbles. Then fill with potting mix and nestle in your favorite herbs. Place them on a sunny kitchen windowsill or outside on a rustic bench. The worn edges and seasoned surfaces give your indoor garden a lovely farmhouse feel. And for gardeners who love to cook with what they grow, this one brings the garden right to the heart of the home. Tip 17. Bird cages, whimsical green havens with vintage soul. If you've ever come across an old bird cage at a flea market or thrift shop and felt drawn to it, trust your instinct. These delicate, airy structures make stunning planters that feel part storybook, part secret garden. You can hang them from a ceiling hook, porch beam, or even let them sit nestled in a cozy corner. Line the bottom with moss or a cocoa liner, then fill with trailing plants like English ivy, string of pearls, or creeping jenny. And for that extra spark of magic, tuck in a few moss balls or soft fairy lights. Birdcage planters are perfect for gardeners who love a bit of enchantment and love turning forgotten treasures into something living, glowing, and full of charm. It's not just decor, it's a moment of wonder in your everyday space. Tips 18. Hat boxes with a twist, fashionably green and full of life. Now we're stepping into something a little unexpected and delightfully elegant. If you've got an old hat box tucked away in the attic or find one at a vintage store, don't pass it up. These round beauties make surprisingly wonderful planters. Start by lining the inside with plastic or a waterproof liner to protect the box. Add potting soil and plant something graceful like pothose, heartleaf philodendron, or even tradescantia. These trailing vines will spill gently over the edges, creating a soft, romantic look. And here's a sweet finishing touch. Tie a ribbon or add a decorative bow around the box. For gardeners who love vintage charm and a dash of personality, this idea brings a bit of fashion to your foliage. It's proof that when it comes to planting, style and soil can absolutely go hand in hand. Tips 19. Old globes, A whole world of green at your fingertips. For those of us who love plants and a little bit of poetry, this next idea is both meaningful and magical. An old globe. Once used to teach geography or inspire travel, it can now become a stunning planter that celebrates life on every continent. Simply slice the globe in half and choose the side that speaks to you. Line it with plastic or a shallow bowl that fits snugly, then fill with soil and your favorite plant. Try something lush and draping like trailing philodendron or string of pearls, plants that move just like the world spins. Place it on a shelf, hang it with a chain, or nestle it into a vintage stand. For gardeners who see beauty in both plants and purpose, this world planter is a quiet reminder that we're all rooted to the same earth, and growth happens everywhere. Tips 20. Torn handbags or purses. From fashion to foliage. Let's talk about turning yesterday's fashion into today's garden flair. That old leather purse in the closet, the one with a broken strap or a scuffed corner, can live again as a planter, full of personality and charm. Start by lining the inside with plastic or poke a few discreet drainage holes near the bottom. Add a thin layer of pebbles for drainage, then fill with potting soil and a low-maintenance plant like a peace lily, pothose, or even a small blooming kalanchoe. This kind of project is perfect for gardeners who love a little whimsy, a bit of humor, and aren't afraid to mix the elegant with the earthy. Whether you hang it on a fence, rest it on a shelf, or gift it to a fellow plant lover, this purse-turn planter says style never fades, it just grows new roots. Tips 21. Suitcases. Pack garden, unpack some joy. Yes, you heard that right, suitcases. Those vintage hardshell types with worn handles and travel stickers from decades past. They make show-stopping indoor planters that tell a story before you even lift the lid. Start by opening the suitcase and lining the inside with plastic or a shallow planting tray. Add pebbles for drainage, then layer in your potting mix. Now comes the fun part. Fill it with an assortment of houseplants like calatheas, pothos, ferns, or peace lilies. Let them spill over the sides as if they're ready to board a train to paradise. For gardeners who love a little drama, a little history, and a whole lot of green, this idea brings it all together. Stack a few closed suitcases under a shelf and open one on top for a tiered display. It's whimsical, meaningful, and also satisfying. Tips 22. Hollowed out books, where stories and succulents meet. Now this one's for the gardeners who also love a good book, the kind who can't resist a library sale or the charm of a weathered hardcover. A hollowed out book makes a beautiful and unexpected home for a plant, and it's easier to make than you might think. Start by gluing the pages together, leaving the cover intact. Once the block is dry, use a craft knife to carefully cut out a rectangle in the center. Line it with a bit of plastic or wax paper, add a layer of pebbles and then a small scoop of soil. Pop in a low-maintenance succulent or air plant, and you've got yourself a living bookmark. Set it on a desk, a windowsill, or wrap it as a heartfelt gift. It's thoughtful, unique, and a perfect reminder that even an old story can grow something new. Tips 23. Vintage typewriters. Let nature do the typing. If you're the kind of gardener who sees beauty in forgotten corners and charm in the past, this next idea will feel like poetry. A vintage typewriter with its clacking keys and timeless design becomes a stunning stage for greenery. Start by gently cleaning the keys, then nestle a bit of preserved moss along the base. Add a few air plants or small succulents between the keys, no soil needed. These low-maintenance plants thrive in indirect light and don't require much more than a spritz of water now and then. The result? A show-stopping piece that feels part art installation, part love letter to nature. Perfect for an entryway table, a writer's nook, or even a gift for a fellow plant and history lover. It's proof that every object has a second story waiting to bloom. Tips 24. Candle holders turn mini planters. Small in size, big on charm. Sometimes, it's the smallest things that bring the most joy, like turning an old candle holder into a tiny garden gem. Those short, chunky holders you might have tucked away in a drawer? They're just waiting for a new role. Clean them up, add a bit of gravel at the bottom for drainage, and top with a spoonful of potting mix. Then nestle in a miniature succulent, moss, or even an air plant. These petite planters work beautifully on their own, but when you group 3 or 4 on a tray, you've got an instant vignette. Perfect for a coffee table, bedside stand, or kitchen shelf. It's a lovely option for gardeners who adore detail, love working with their hands, and enjoy the little rituals of beauty that brighten each day. Tips 25. Rolling pins and cutting boards, from kitchen tools to garden jewels. If you love the warmth of wood and the charm of old kitchen tools, this next idea is going to feel like second nature. Rolling pins and cutting boards aren't just for baking anymore. They're full of hidden planting potential. Start with a wooden cutting board, drill a row of small holes, and insert slim test tube planters or small glass vials. Fill each with water and a sprig of herbs like basil, rosemary, or mint, perfect for windowsill propagation. Or take a rolling pin, mount it with hooks or leather loops, and let it hold mini potted herbs right on your wall. It's ideal for gardeners who like their plants close at hand, especially in the kitchen. Functional, decorative, and also satisfying, this project adds a dash of greenery to your cooking space and keeps nature right at your fingertips. Bonus tips: to make it work, set yourself up for success. Now that you've got a whole treasure trove of upcycled planter ideas, let's make sure they thrive. Because as every gardener knows, the magic is in the details, and a little prep goes a long way. First, if your container isn't waterproof, line it with plastic, a coconut husk liner, or even a bit of landscape fabric. This helps hold in moisture without damaging the piece. Then add a layer of pebbles or activated charcoal at the bottom to improve drainage and keep roots healthy. Be thoughtful with your plant choices. Small containers work best with succulents, herbs, air plants, and trailing vines, plants that don't mind cozy quarters. And finally, don't be afraid to add your personal touch. Paint the sides, stencil a design, or wrap your planter with twine or fabric. Make it yours because that's where the real joy grows. Closing, a heartfelt goodbye for meaningful living. And just like that, we've taken a quiet walk through forgotten treasures and turned them into something living, lovely, and deeply personal. Each planter you create holds more than soil. It holds a story, a memory, a little spark of creativity that says, "I saw potential here." In a world that's always rushing, where everything is meant to be replaced, you've chosen to slow down, to look again, to create beauty not by buying more, but by seeing more in what's already around you. So before you throw away that chipped dish, old drawer, or dusty basket, pause. That could be the beginning of your next great garden idea. Thank you for spending this time with us at Meaningful Living. If this video inspired you, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more ideas, and share your own creations in the comments. We truly love to hear your story. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind to the earth, and as always, happy planting.